Thank you, Nikki Vachon, for being with us today from the Finance Authority of Maine.
Thanks so much. Hey, everybody. I'm Nikki Vachon. I'm a college access counselor with the Finance Authority of Maine. FAME, if you're not familiar with us, we're a quasi-state entity. It's a weird way of saying I kind of work for the state, but I kind of don't. What it means to you is that all of our services are free. So don't ever feel like you have to pay anything to contact us. We don't sell anything. I just have the dream job of being able to help people through this process. And I wish there was a FAME for everything, but at least we got this one, right? Okay, so I just want to make sure, give a shout out to our contact list. If you aren't already receiving emails from FAME, you can go to famemaine.com/join to sign up to get our emails. There's also a way to get our text messages. We don't send a bunch of information to you. We don't sell your information. We just tell you when it's time to do something. And this is going to be a weird year for my seniors. The FAFSA, I don't know if you guys have heard, it's a big deal. The FAFSA is massively changing. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but because of the changes, the FAFSA has been delayed. So we don't even know what day it's going to open. So I'd love to have folks sign up to get our texts or emails. And also follow us on our social media because we have a lot of really super good content. Okay, so as you guys are listening to me talk, this is, my husband says, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. So a lot of information, and I'm going to try not to go super fast. I just want to let you know that everything I say is in a publication we created in this green book on the side. You can download this for free at famemaine.com/publications, or you can have us mail you a copy. We also have other publications there too, which are really good for younger students, high school students that are looking at searching for colleges. We have a publication called Plan, which really kind of helps you evaluate what kind of path you want to go on. We also have some financial fitness stuff. We have a publication called Build, which helps you kind of learn about financial issues. So go to that website. A lot of the times in this presentation, I'm going to talk about this green book. So that's what I'm talking about. All right. So let's just talk broadly for a second about financial aid. And I'm going to go more into the details of this in a bit. But as you're thinking about how you're going to pay for college, just think that there's merit-based aid and there's need-based aid. And this is just two broad types of financial aid. Merit-based aid is money you get for doing something awesome. Maybe you're a great athlete, musician, artist. Maybe you have great grades, like something you've done great, right? The college might have some money that they can use to attract you to their school. That's called merit aid. Once you get accepted at the college, financial aid looks at your financial need and they award need-based aid. So that's kind of the way we look at it. The financial aid office figures out your need by doing a form called the FAFSA. Okay, the FAFSA is one form. You do this online, usually after October 1st every year, right? October is like our hot time when we're going to apply for financial aid, but except this year. So for my high school seniors this year, or anyone planning on being in school next fall, the FAFSA is delayed till sometime in December. I'll get into that. The FAFSA is one form. You can list up to 20 colleges on it. We don't even need to know where you're going. We're just going to list every school you're thinking about. When you hit submit, it goes out to all those schools. If you find another school that looks amazing, go in, add that school, resubmit, it goes out to that new school. So I want everyone who is a high school senior or someone maybe even have taken a gap year or maybe an adult. If you're thinking about going to school next fall, I need you to do that FAFSA, even if you don't know what your plans are. And let me tell you why. When I worked in financial aid, we had a deadline at our school, and every school has a different deadline, that if you didn't do a FAFSA by a certain date, we wouldn't give you any of our campus-based money, okay? So that's one deadline. Also, we had endowments. So we had people that donated money to the school and scholarships. And as you all apply for aid, a lot of it is first come, first serve. So pro tip there, if you don't know what your plans are, let's get the FAFSA filed. It is date stamped, so we know you made that deadline, okay? If you never use it, It's free. It may take you 10 minutes. Let's all just get it done. Have it sitting there in case you use it. Okay. If you don't use it, we are out nothing but like 10 minutes. If you need to take out a student loan, we need to do the FAFSA. A lot of scholarships ask for this. So everyone who's thinking maybe there's a possibility I might be in school, we're going to get that FAFSA done. Okay. We've broken this up into 3 easy steps to find an affordable school. And the first step is get ready. And there's a couple things I got in get ready. So let's talk about shopping for a college. I want you to think about this like you're shopping for a college. This can be done at any time. So if you are a freshman and you are looking at a college and you're like, that looks kind of cool, but it's kind of pricey. I don't know if I can afford it. Every school has what's called a net price calculator on their website. And this is just a tool where you can plug in your information and it will give you an estimate of how much aid they'll give you. All right. This is ideal to do early. If there's a school you're thinking about, go check that out. It's just an estimate. Keep in mind, even if it's super expensive, I still want you to apply just in case, because we don't know what kind of aid they might offer you. But it's a good idea to start having a conversation with your family or a trusted adult to say, is there any money to help me pay for this? Because this is what UMaine told me. This is what I'm looking at. Am I doing this by myself? Or is there any family money that's going to help me do this? This really puts the student in the driver's seat. When they start shopping for a school, if they know that's on them, we're gonna cast a wide net. We're gonna apply for a bunch of schools, see who offers you the best money. Who's gonna show me the money? Okay. But it also really kicks you into gear that maybe if I bring my grades up, I'll get more scholarships. Or maybe I will apply for scholarships when I wasn't really thinking about doing it. Maybe I need to work and save some money. It really gets that in motion, and the earlier we can do this, the better. So go check that out. These net price calculators take like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Super easy. Okay, if you aren't even sure where to start, remember Nikki said you got to cast a wide net, apply to a bunch of schools. The College Board has a website called Big Future. This is like my Zillow. I don't know if you guys like Zillow, but Zillow is my dirty habit. I love to shop for houses. Well, there's no online way to shop for colleges, but this is pretty close. So this is a way where you can filter out schools by major or location or a type of school you're looking for. And it's going to find you schools that fit your filters, right? It's going to give you some options. So this may be a good way to find schools you hadn't even heard about. But what I really like are these affordability tabs up top, where if you click on affordability, you can say, okay, of this list, filter down schools that meet 100% of financial need. This means show me the schools that have great financial aid. So this is kind of a way to angle your way towards those schools. This is really important if you are a student who really thinks you're going to struggle financially. Looking for schools that have great financial aid is a good way to go. Okay, and as you're doing this research on schools, I want you to pay attention to the word deadline. Anytime you see the word deadline, I want you to equate this to money. So like I said, at the school I worked at, you had to apply for financial aid by a certain deadline, or we wouldn't give you any of our scholarships. But that merit money that my school offered, you had to apply for admissions by a certain date to be considered for that. So we created in that green book I told you about at famemaine.com/publications, we have a tracking sheet for deadlines for you to keep track of. I think that's super important. Also, let's find out what's needed to get the money. So we know you're going to do the FAFSA. Every school asks for this. But some schools may ask for what's called a CSS profile. And this is it's kind of like the FAFSA, but it's a deeper dive. I had someone tell me the other day, they're surprised they didn't ask for their blood type. It is a lot of questions, okay? But here's the thing about this. There's only 3 schools in Maine that ask for the CSS profile, Colby, Bates, and Bowdoin. And what do we know about them? Usually people say most expensive schools in Maine. 100% correct. However, they have amazing financial aid. They have so much money. I mean, it's just amazing. Those are schools that meet full need. They use this extra form to figure out who gets the money. So when you're filling this out and you're thinking, man, this blows, this is a horrible, horrible application, just keep thinking, this could be thousands of dollars. Okay, that's your little carrot to get it done. Okay, I want you to start saving now. And this is another thing. Earlier we can start at this, the better. But even if you are a senior and you're like, Nikki, that ship has sailed, way too late. I got you covered. Okay. Maine has a program called the Next Gen. The Next Gen is our 529 for the state of Maine. A 529 plan is a college investing plan. And I equate this to like a retirement account. So it's you're investing money, right? And if those investments make any earnings and you pull that money out, you aren't taxed on the earnings if you use it for higher education. And there's other things you can use it for as well. Like there's some secondary school stuff that you can do. Now they've changed it. So if you take out student loans, you can use the 529 plans for that. So they've really broadened what you can use these funds for and not be taxed. But here's the thing. If you are a senior and we're starting a bit late, you're not going to have time to make earnings. That's not where it's at for you. Where it's at for you is the matching grants. So as a program designed to get people to start saving for school, we partner with the Alphon Foundation to put money in your account when you open it. So if a Mainer doesn't have an account and they open one up, we'll put $100 in to get you started. But money you save is matched at 30%, up to $300 every year. So if you open an account tomorrow, you put money in it, at the end of the year, we look at how much you've saved and we match it at 30% up to $300. And you can keep doing that in college. So like, keep doing it, okay? Get that little bit of matching money. There's no age limit to this. Someone as old as me can open one of these and get matching money. So this is not something that if you are an adult and you want to go back to school, go for it. There's also a one-time $100 automated funding grant. So for my grandkids, I open up accounts for them and every month I put in $25 from my payroll into their accounts. And after doing that 6 times, they get a $100 grant one time. If you have an account already and you've already gotten this grant, I don't want you to open up another account to do this. It's a one-time thing. Okay. Any questions about that, you can go to nextgenforme.com. And if there's any questions at all, throw them in the chat or the Q&A. I love a question as we go. All right, let's talk scholarships. Scholarships are so important. And I can't tell you, like, again, start early. There are scholarships for middle school students. There are scholarships for adult learners. There's every age group. The real hot spot, the most scholarships are for high school seniors, but I'm going to show you some places to look for younger students. But I can tell you people don't, I mean, you guys don't have time. Like, who's got time for this, right? But I can tell you it is so worthwhile. famemaine.com/scholarships is our scholarship search page. So I'm going to tell you to go there and go look for a scholarship called the Maine Legislative Scholarship. We give away 16 $1,000 scholarships, one for every county in Maine. The last 2 years, we've had to extend the deadline because we only had 6 people apply one year, 7 people apply the next year. People don't do this, guys. People do not apply for scholarships. Please go do this. I cannot say enough. We also have a Facebook group that if you're on Facebook, Paying for College for Me, you can join that. And we post scholarships all the time. Part of my job is to find scholarships for you to apply for. Okay, so let's talk about other places to look. Remember how I said middle school students can apply for scholarships? This website called youcango2.org, I think it's an Oklahoma version of FAME, but they have scholarships that I really like. You can search by month. So I looked at scholarships that are due in October, and these are some scholarships that are available right now that students can apply for. But if you look to the left, you can see there's also groups. Do you see where that says middle school students? Middle school students, they post scholarships for middle school students here. So this is a great way to start looking now. Even if like you're a freshman in high school, look at the middle school option, because usually there's no age limit. Like they open it up to everybody. So it's just a good place to look, even though you're not a middle school student. I get it. Maine Community Foundation is a foundation that administers tons of scholarships. So mainecf.org, you can search by county and find scholarships to apply for. Or if you're an adult learner, there's a scholarship program for you. And then I noticed that this Homeschoolers of Maine, there's a place that lists scholarships. So all kinds of them out there. So go after those. All right, so the last piece of step one, get ready to apply for financial aid and find an affordable college, is we're going to get ready to file the FAFSA. Now, I know that right now for people who might be in school in January, I'm going to talk to you for a second. I want you to go out right now, set up an account. It's called an FSA ID. This is a username and password that you need to get into the FAFSA. You can do this today, and you can immediately go in and file your FAFSA right now. Don't leave yet. But like you can go right now, set up username and password, file your FAFSA, because it's available right now. That's for this academic year. So if you're going to be in school in January, March, or anytime before next fall, you can go do this right now. For my folks that are going to be in school next fall, I'm going to say you're going to file the 2024-25 academic year FAFSA. That's going to be a little bit different. The whole FAFSA is being rebuilt. And here's one of the things that's changing. This FSA ID, this username and password that students need to get into the FAFSA, when you set this up behind the scenes, what happens is that you list your date of birth, your social security number, and your legal name. When you set that up, that record goes to the Social Security Administration to make sure those three pieces match what's in their records. So you're going to get an email that says everything matched, you can use this, or something doesn't match, go in and fix it. That takes a week. I need you to do this as soon as you can. Like you can do this right now. I'd like to have you do this before December. Okay. So folks that are going to do a 24-25 FAFSA, takeaway from this is I want you to set up this username and password. You can do it today. You go to studentaid.gov. You're going to set up a username and password. This is the hardest part about applying for financial aid. Two things. Have your social security card with you, because we need to get that social security number right. But you also need to remember your username and password. And that is a struggle. I can tell you the username you want to use that you use for everything may have already been used by someone else and you can't use it. So you have to create a new username and password. So when you're saying, Nikki, I will remember, you might not. So we created a worksheet. If you go to famemaine.com/FAFSA, you can download or use as a template this FSA ID worksheet where you can document your username and password. Write it down somewhere. I put my username and passwords in my Google contacts. You do whatever works for you. A lot of people put it in their phone, whatever works. You may need this username and password for the next 14 years. Okay. Every year we go to file the FAFSA, you need to dig this out and use it again. But like 10 years down the road, if you have a student loan and you want to change the payment, you need this username and password. That's the hardest part. The rest downhill. So when you set this up, I would love for you to have an email ready, because you have to have an email address to get a secure code sent to you. So if you don't have an email address, let's set it up. And if possible, have a cell phone that received texts, because it's now you have two ways to reset your password if you forget it. You can reset it by email or text. You don't necessarily need to have a cell phone to do this, but it's helpful. All right. Step 2, we're going to apply for financial aid. Okay, so like I said, if you're going to be in school this year, the FAFSA is available now. You can go on and apply. But if you're going to be in school during the 24-25 academic year, the FAFSA is going to be available sometime in December. Okay, we don't know what date yet. It's being completely rebuilt. They burned it down. They're starting from scratch. It's going to be a different application. They're not done building yet. It looks good. I'm guessing you're probably going to apply in January. That'd be my guess. So just that's something to look forward to. You're going to go to studentaid.gov and you can see the FAFSA is right here. Okay, so let's talk about what the FAFSA looks like and how, if you've done a FAFSA in the past, this is how it's going to look a little bit different. Or maybe if you've never done one before, this is what it's going to look like. The 24-25 FAFSA is now going to be roles-based. And what this means is when a student logs into the FAFSA using their username and password, they only see questions that pertain to them. If a parent of a student logs in to fill out their portion of a FAFSA, they are only going to see questions that pertain to parents. It's two separate applications. Now, it doesn't matter who starts first. So one starts first and then it's going to invite the other. So let me tell you what that looks like. If the student starts the FAFSA and it asks a series of questions to say, it looks like you're a dependent student for FAFSA purposes. So you're under 24, you don't have any kids, you're not married, you're not a veteran, orphan, ward of the court. It looks like we need parent information. You're going to see a place where you can invite your parents to fill out their part. So here's what you need. Your parents' legal name, date of birth, and social security number. That has to be accurate. I can tell you my kids probably don't know my legal name or how to spell it. We got to spell it accurately. So when you're doing this, if the student's going to invite the parent, let's make sure we get that accurate, because if not, these two pieces are not going to match up. The student's going to list an email address for the parent. That is going to send a link by email to the parent. The parent clicks on the email and it brings up their application to fill out. Now, one of the things I didn't mention earlier, parents, you need to set up an FSA ID as well. Remember how I said students had to go create that username and password? At least one parent needs an FSA ID as well, because you're going to have to log in and fill out your questions. Now, when the second person finishes their part, behind the scenes, both applications meet and nobody sees what each other put in it unless you're sitting there looking at it. So just keep in mind that this is all going to happen behind the scenes. Those two pieces are going to meet and then be sent to the college. Okay, this is ideal for people who were very concerned that a student might see their information and they didn't want that to happen. This now really keeps everybody's information separate. So let me just speak to that for a second. If you are a parent who doesn't want your child to have your social security number, you can start the FAFSA and invite your student. So that could go either way, right? Okay, so when you file the FAFSA, we need to tell them how much income you have. The income is the biggest driver on the FAFSA, okay? So the FAFSA for 24-25 looks at 2022 income. So last year's income is going to be put on next year's FAFSA. And I know that's a weird concept, but it has to do with when the FAFSA normally opens in October, that's the most recent tax year we have to work with. So that's why we use that. So what I want you to do is have your tax returns handy just to see if 2022 was a really good year for you. Okay, and maybe you don't make that much money anymore. Hang on to that for a second because we're going to talk to that. But when you sit down to do the FAFSA, have those taxes handy. Okay, this is going to be one of the biggest changes of FAFSA. You guys, I'm so tickled about this, I can't even tell you. In the past, or right now, if you were to file a FAFSA, you either have to hand enter your income or you have to link out to the IRS and pull your tax data in. And that worked like 86% of the time. Didn't always work for some reason. Big change. What you're going to do is you're going to get a screen that says, do you give consent for the FAFSA to send your income information to the college? You're going to say, I approve. And like magic, your income is going to be added to the FAFSA behind the scenes. You're not going to see what's there. The student's not going to see it. Remember how I said those applications are going to meet in the back? The FAFSA is going to be added to that before it gets sent to the school. Anyone else's mind blown? My mind is blown. This is so easy, you guys. You click approve, done. There's a couple more income questions like If you had foreign income, the IRS doesn't have that information, so you'd have to add it, right? There's a couple more scenarios where you might have to hand enter it, but like almost everybody is going to be able to click approve and it's sent. If you are someone who does not file a tax return, you still click approve, because what's going to be sent is there's no income for this person. Anytime anyone sees, do you approve? Click approve. I cannot say this enough. Some people are going to be like, oh, I didn't file taxes, I don't have to do this. Nope. Everybody clicks approve, because if you don't, the student's ineligible for aid. So if that happens, if you say that you declined, and after I talk you into doing this, you can go back into the FAFSA and fix it. But let me just save you some time and effort. Everybody clicks approve. Okay. I've said the word parent a few times, and that is not everyone's situation. So let's talk about who's a parent. A parent is a biological or adoptive parent only. If you are a student who lives with a grandparent or a family friend, or you live by yourself, you are not listing any of those people on your FAFSA unless they have adopted you. Okay. You may not need parent information if you are in legal guardianship, if you are homeless, if you are unaccompanied homeless, or forget the word, unaccompanied, self-supporting, and at risk of homelessness. Those folks don't need parent information. There's going to be some folks that can't get their parent information because they are at risk by contacting them, either mentally or physically. There's a pathway for that as well. So just keep in mind that there is a pathway for everyone to file the FAFSA. So if you are having struggles, you contact me. I'm going to give you my contact information. We'll get that done. Okay, so what if your parents are not living together? Maybe your parents are divorced or just never married. They don't live in the same household. The FAFSA only has room for 2 parents. So whose parents are we listing? We need to list information about the parent that provides the most financial support. So it used to be, who'd you live with the most? That's gone for the next FAFSA. It's now going to be who provides the most financial support. A lot of times it's not going to change, right? If you are like us, like I have 3 stepkids and we split expenses right down the middle, the next thing we look to is who earned the most income. That would be the person on the FAFSA. If that parent has remarried, the step parent is going to be on the FAFSA as well. Okay. One more thing about the FAFSA, and we will move on. I just wanted to tell you that assets might be asked for on the FAFSA, and there are assets we include and assets we do not include. So an asset would be like what's in your cash checking or savings account, what's in a stocks, bonds, things like that. Do you have a second property like a camp? That's an asset for the FAFSA. We do not list the value of our house on the FAFSA, and we do not list retirement accounts. FAFSA doesn't want to know about that. So just keep in mind, we're not going to list that. What you're looking at here with this mint green box, this is the back side of a FAFSA checklist we have listed on our website. The front side of this shows those assets we do list and ones we don't. The back side will show you how to figure out if your parent information is going to be needed and which parent to put on the FAFSA. So that's kind of what you're looking at here. All right, so we're now at step 3. You've already submitted the FAFSA. A couple days later, you get an email that says your FAFSA has been processed. You can go look at your FAFSA submission summary. That means your FAFSA is done cooking. It's been sent to the schools. We can log back into studentaid.gov and you can see this FAFSA submission summary. It just really is saying that your FAFSA has been submitted and it'll show you the results. This is not how much aid you're going to get. This is what the federal government knows they can give you. They don't know what your college can give you or what the state of Maine can give you. So this isn't a done deal yet. But I mention this because a lot of scholarships ask for a copy of this. So I want you to log back in and download a copy of this. So when a scholarship asks for your FAFSA summary, or it used to be called student aid report, that's what this is. All right. So I would love it if you applied to a bunch of schools, got accepted, filed your FAFSA, and then they sent you financial aid offers. And an offer is like, if you come to our school, this is how much money we'll give you. And I would say because the FAFSA is going to be delayed this year, you're probably not going to get an aid offer till at least March, maybe. Depends on the school, they're all different. I would love you to compare what it's going to cost you out of pocket for 1 year before we commit to anything. Before you sign on a dotted line, let's see how much money they're giving you. And in that green book, we created this worksheet where you can take the cost to go there, tuition and fees, room and board, minus grants and scholarships. That's free money. We don't have to repay. Think about that like a coupon. Cost minus the grants and scholarships. What's left over is what you pay out of pocket for 1 year. Now, it's important to do this because if you have a few options, you could be like, I love school A, but school B is like a third of the price. That is a big deal, right? Helps us figure out how much the schools cost. Is it going to be affordable? So you can also do this online. They'll do the math for you. Math, gross. Okay, special circumstances. So remember how I said the FAFSA for 2020, 24-25, ask for your 2022 income. And I want you to look at that tax return and say, is this our situation? If your income is less than it was in 2022, you're going to file the FAFSA for what they asked for, but then we worked with the college for what's called an appeal. You can appeal the FAFSA to say, 2022, we don't have that kind of income anymore. Maybe someone's lost a job. Maybe the parents have gotten a divorce. Now that half that income is gone. Maybe you have unusual expenses, medical expenses, home repairs, or maybe a parent or sibling is in college and there's an extra cost there. We then work with financial aid and they adjust your FAFSA. You have to document what your costs are. They'll fix the FAFSA for you. Okay. What do we do when financial aid isn't enough, but you really want to go to this school? This is my short list, and I got more tricks up my sleeve. The first thing I'm going to ask you is, do you have any savings? Because even if it's just a little bit, maybe we can bring your bill down enough to do the rest in a payment plan, which is just your bill for that term divided into chunks. That is way cheaper than taking out a student loan. You do have options to student loans, and we have a website where we explain what's the best idea when it comes to borrowing federal student loans. That federal student loans are where we're going to say that's your first stop. When you file the FAFSA, you're going to automatically be eligible for a student loan. That's where you go first. If you need money after that, there's other financing available, but let's try to not do that at all. Now, this is going to sound weird, but there are great tax credits for having someone in your household in college. And we pay in taxes every year until our baby went to college, and we claimed him and we got a refund. And that was a big day in the Vachon household. We use that refund to pay for next semester. So that's kind of a strategy for paying. All right, so I'm just rounding up the end here. Let me just stop and look at Q&As. All right, so question, do I fill out the FAFSA for my student who will be in graduate school starting in 24-25? Yeah, so every student should file the FAFSA, even if you're applying for PhD. And the reason I say this is the school I worked at, some of our departments would apply for funding and they got grant funding. And if you didn't file a FAFSA, I wouldn't know who you were. So I couldn't give it to you. So definitely, let's see if there's any grant opportunities. But even if you want to borrow for graduate school, I would do the FAFSA, because getting the loan that's associated with the FAFSA, your best option. Definitely do that. Do I fill out the FAFSA for my, can I back up for a second? For a student who's going to be in graduate school, the parent information is no longer going to be needed on that FAFSA. So for a parent asking, do I fill out the FAFSA? Only the student is going to be on a graduate school FAFSA. Parent information no longer needed at that point. Do I fill out the FAFSA for a student who's an undergraduate but is married? Great question. If a undergraduate student is married, they are considered independent for FAFSA purposes. No parent information is needed, but the spouse's information is needed. So great question. One more question. We still type in our income, and that's how the FAFSA knows our income, question mark. Okay. No. So when the FAFSA is asking for income, there's going to be a very long screen with a lot of legalese that says, do you approve for the IRS to send my income information to the school? You click approve, and that's going to be sent to the school. The only times you would have to type in your income is if you had foreign income, because the IRS doesn't have foreign income. You'd have to type that in. Or if you recently got a divorce, in the taxes you filed last year, you filed a joint tax return. Well, the FAFSA has no way of separating out the income. Then that's a situation where you'd have to type in your income information. But very few people will have to do this. I hope that answered those questions. If not, throw me something in the chat. All right. Thank you for those questions. I love it. Just wanted to mention that you can sign up to get our text by texting FAME to 207-707-5001, or you can get emails by going to famemaine.com/join. Let us tell you when the FAFSA is available. That's how you do it. Join our Facebook group, Paying for College for Me, or you can also sign up for free financial aid coaching. Now, this is a calendar system where our services have always been free, but during the pandemic, we wanted people to be able to schedule an appointment with us online. So we created this scheduling system. I'm going to show you that in just a second. All right. I did want to also tell you that we're going to have FAFSA help sessions throughout the year. So if you go to famemaine.com/events and you see all of our events on the side, if you click on FAFSA help, it will show you where FAFSA sessions are going to be. But if you're going to do that right now, we don't have them listed. We haven't scheduled them yet. I just wanted to let you guys know that this is where you'll find help, either online. We're going to do virtual sessions, and we're going to do in-person ones too, but that's where you're going to find them. Okay, I'm going to open this up to questions. And while you think about your question, I just wanted to tell you my contact information here, nvachon@famemaine.com. That's my email. My phone number's here. If you want to sign up for free financial aid coaching, go to famemaine.com/contact. Okay. Oh, I got a question. Thank you. If your child plans on attending a community college, are there any FAFSA prep issues? Thank you so much for asking that question. So in Maine, Mainers have access to free community college if you graduate between 2020 and 2025. Okay. And I think it might go further. That's my gut. In order to access free community college, the student has to file a FAFSA. Okay, so definitely file the FAFSA for that. Now, here's the deal with free community college. For years before this was even a program, community college was free for a lot of folks, because when you apply for financial aid, community college is so affordable that many times the aid you got overpaid how much it costs to go there. So for instance, most of the community colleges, just tuition fees, about $4,000 a year. The maximum Pell Grant is $7,395. So if you apply for financial aid, you're going to have more aid than you need. That excess can be used towards housing, if you're going to stay on campus. If you're going to commute, you can use it for transportation, books, supplies, things like that. So any FAFSA prep issues, just do the FAFSA. That's your prep issue, because students need to do this. If you are a student who can't file the FAFSA, so someone might be a new Mainer and they aren't a US citizen, maybe they're waiting for their citizenship. These folks can also access free community college. They have to work with the admissions office, usually, sometimes it's financial aid, so that they can still access free community college. There are other funding programs that cover this. So I don't want anyone to think, I can't file the FAFSA, I'm not gonna be able to do this. If you are a student who can't file the FAFSA because your parent refuses to give their information, you can still access free community college. We just got to work with admissions to go around that.
If there are no other questions, we'd like to thank Nikki for this informative webinar. Thank you all for joining us as well. If you have other questions about getting ready for college, including applying for college, early college, or writing the college essay, please be sure to visit the link on the screen in front of you. Thank you so much and have a good day.